is supposed to be the Africa show, but I think it's the universal show. Okay, Duane, my first question will be, or my first comment is about the intricate relationship between good health and awareness, even on this mundane level. And I'm aware that you are very much interested in real nutrition. So if the old axiom that a healthy body contributes to a good spirit is anything to go by, can you show us how improper or deficient nutrition can impact the Utun?
It's really all about attention and choice. And so, as the individual, as any of us come here, and, each lifetime we have a new body and a new brain. So it's sometimes a little difficult to remember what we went through in the past, because now we're in a new position, which can be beneficial, but also at the same time doesn't always give us the information we had before and what we went through and what we put ourselves through. We really put ourselves through creation. We each do this, and all of a sudden we see an outer environment, but we're all part of everything. But as we go along here, we start to figure things out. And so again, the mind itself becomes routined and programmed, indoctrinated a particular way. It just depends upon where you were born and what body type you have, etc. You deal with it. But it's all about choice. And so what it is here, it's not so much about health. Okay, yes, health is important, etc., especially with the environment we're in. But it's really about what takes your attention and how you see what you do. But again, this takes a while too to see what else there is besides just the environment here, because life is big, and it just got a lot bigger with the new presentation. So it's not we're not going through or using the same routines as everyone else has, and so this is where we're a little bit questionable. And so, yeah, we talk about health, we talk about these different things just to kind of blend in, and at the same time, each person, makes the choice. But realistically, overall, it's not about health. It's not about any of these things. It's about your real awareness. And when you look at the world is doing what it's doing, but where is it that it's really refers to or talks about your real awareness? So, again, it's choice, and I do the best I can. I could do better, of course, but at the same time, it's not about that. It's about the awareness, and I'll handle the body. It's kind of like a car you have. Sometimes maybe you don't always clean it out or wash it, but it's still running. But sometimes to where it becomes also an obsession with people. Things become their obsession, and that takes you away from your real awareness. The journey is huge and it's endless. Each person decides, and the lifetime for the most part only lasts so long. So health is a choice, and it does matter, but it's not number one. Your real awareness is, and it's okay to, sometimes the individual's a little bit hard or pushes the vehicle. I knew a friend of mine that when he went to college when he was younger, and he was into, he was going to be a massage therapy coach, a therapy coach. Well, at some point, he would exercise, he'd lift weights and do all these things. But at some point, while he was young in his 20s, he realized, even when you're that young and strong, he was pushing himself, and he actually hurt himself. So how far does it go? How far does the health thing go? And what's the bigger picture here? So, but again, it's choice. You find out. And so fortunately, we have what we have here with the Skype groups and the information people have. This is just the first step, but it's something. Yes, Charles, go ahead. Again, it's an attention getter, and how much attention do you want to put on it? How much attention do you need to put on it? It's kind of like your car. You change the oil, but you don't have to keep thinking about changing the oil, do you? Then you're not really exploring your real awareness. So again, it's choice. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, let me make a comment again on this. Paul Twitchell, your predecessor, actually concentrated on health. You even had a book, Herbs, the Magic Healers, which is not all about health, but actually outlines what proper nutrition should look like, what to include in our diets to stay healthy and strong, and even suggested that the higher I don't know what to call the realizations could be blurred, could be cut off from some people whose health is not good. They will not be able to reach certain they will not be able to have a certain clear perception or recognition of things because of certain deficiencies in their nutrition. And so he suggested that we should eat we should include certain vitamins, certain herbs, and other food items in our meals on a daily basis. So I know that the real awareness is still there in the background, or at the forefront. It is running one's life, but I think some people may get into some hallucinatory states because of what they eat. So I don't know what you say about that, and that would affect their perception. So I don't know whether you can say something about this.
Well, you see what's going on in the world. Everybody has their position, and it's it's not for everybody to Paul created Sunasu, which was a vitamin mineral supplement, and I was part of that in the 70s, and it became an MLM, and Gail Twitchell took it over. And yes, in certain areas this happens, but you look at like Africa and whatever, it's people aren't able to do this. It's to come off the land. And at the same time, with what's going on today, people have good ideas like the tree planting. It is, and there are nutrients from that, even from the hemp and other things. There's in Iran, I saw this documentary years ago. There are these people that live off the reeds in these particular areas, and from that they do their clothes, they've got their meal, they build their houses, everything just off the reeds itself. So that supplies everything for them. So they're fine, just like the people that live in the Amazon or what have you. But now today we have the challenge of all the poisons and everything that go into things, and also the processed. We over here in the United States and certain countries, you have all this processed so-called food and what have you. So the challenge to see what's going on is always there, and at the same time, the challenge to survive, to have a focus to become more aware, is always there too. So again, it's up to each person. But we Kelsey does a lot in this area, and Val, especially Kelsey. She's like the doctor, and she has fun with this. And we do this to, eventually it's a step to promote the bigger picture, because it's supporting the isness life is, because that's real. as opposed to this here. And eventually you don't need these bodies anymore. We're just using them for a short time. Well, like we have a car. We're just using it for a short time. But again, that's a choice. Some people want to stay in the bodies. That's their choice. But everything is awareness. And what's so cool is that with your real awareness, you'll see everything. The bodies are actually very restricting, very limited. But in the meantime, yes, until the individual can recognize something more than just their physical body, well, of course, you might say they need the physical body to have that recognition. So that's a decision made there. But yeah, we present this, we promote certain things along these lines, but realistically, the end result is what really matters. And so, again, we'll see. It's choices by each person, but there's so much available, and there's so much more potential. But the biggest challenge today is that as people want to do certain things, as they want to be healthy and they want to be the best they can, also, we're being poisoned and radiated at the same time. That's the biggest challenge to become aware of. And so not be blindsided just thinking that some vitamin pills are going to be the ultimate cure for the physical body, because eventually everyone has to deal with what's really going on here. And that's the challenge too. So for me, I deal with it the best I can. I share whatever to the world, write things, etc., do whatever. But at the same time, it helps me focus even more so. It motivates me to even more so focus on the is, because there, with the is, focusing on it, everything is there. Everything that you'll ever need is with the is. But again, until people understand that, they're going to focus on the secondary parts, and for the most part, they will put that first in their life. But for the most part, the real awareness can take care of that once you recognize how to do it. Then you have the whole picture, not just the pieces that are in the simulator. So, yeah, it's a challenge and it's a choice, Charles.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we just talked about multi-level marketing, and I remember you said when Paul Tuche was here, he did something in that line, and the idea was to make the membership at least have something to do to beef up their incomes or something like that. And it is a pointer to the fact that while living on this level of life, we need finances to push things around. And I want to ask whether it was an MLM started by him, by Kanka, or at the time, or it was a company that he realized could be of use to the membership, to his followers, or to his chillers, and then he encouraged people to join. And if so, what if we have an element that we all promote, because I find so many opportunities that Kelsey brings forth, and they are not like something we have endorsed as a group. It's maybe something individual that she likes. And they are very good. They are very good. But what if we had one that we all endorsed, and then we support each other by getting in an orderly manner, and making things work, and it will help everyone in the long run. What about that?
Okay, yes, talked about it before. And so again, what I like about this, I suggest everybody see, his name is Felix from Germany. And Felix has done what I would have probably done, and I'm going to use some of his pictures, where he has some kids his age or whatever, when he was, I think he's about 20 now. It's a long time ago he started this. And then adults standing right beside him, and he has his hand over their mouth. Okay, so, and the slogan is stop talking and start planting, something like that. And so the idea is, yes, we've talked about this for a long time, and we're doing it here. Myself, Kelsey, and whatever, and Val, etc., and others, we're doing it here. Basically, us three and others. We're actually doing it. We're setting up the business with the help of Henry and others who have contributed. We're already doing this, and this is what I suggested the Africans do too. So going back to your first question about Paul, I don't know when you got into the membership, but I was there in the 70s, 1970 and before that. And yeah, no, it was Paul that started Sunasu. He used this idea as another avenue. He just started off very simply because he wanted to keep people focused on the membership, but at the same time, Paul brought out these little ideas. He had these little books like Ec and Music and Health and these different little avenues, the Ecvidia, and one of them was with Sunasu, and that is he started that with a Dr. Bernard Jensen in LA here. And actually my wife and I, because of her eye situation, she had keratoconus in her eyes, and she was always dealing with her eyes. We went to see Dr. Bernard Jensen. We actually saw him physically and talked to him. And after that, shortly after that, Paul started Sunasu. Gail was the president of the company. It became MLM. And yes, it was, Paul talked about it. He actually said that, he started this so that ECAS could have, the members could have the opportunity of not having to work a regular job, but they could do this. And a lot of people did very, very well at it. I know some people that did very, very well and supported themselves. And so that was the idea, plus the health aspect, etc. That's an aspect of what was taking place. And yes, it was MLM. It made sense. And I look at these things too. This is where I created the Porpoisey Club years ago. And looking at that to eventually went over with some business people at the time to become an MLM. But there takes more of a startup. Paul at the time had the membership, so this was easy to pass around, and a lot of people became involved. I got some of it for myself. I took it myself, but I wasn't really into the selling it. I tried, but I was doing my construction, so that was my focus right there. And later on got into things like Herbalife and whatever too, but didn't last too long because I didn't really like the repetitive approach to these things. But things started off a particular, and you have to see too where Paul was at. Paul was in Southern California here. He lived in Del Mar. He created Eckankar in Las Vegas, and you'd probably wonder, well, gee, why did he do it in Las Vegas? Why didn't he do it here? Like Darwin did when he took over and in Menlo Park and whatever, bought the building. Well, I would say that Paul was a little clever, and Las Vegas was probably better tax haven or situation there, and it only makes sense. He investigated these things and he made the best use of it. And so, but Paul was here in Southern California, and the lifestyle here is a particular. So he was part of that too. He was part of that lifestyle. And so he worked off this area here, and he could see the United States, the people in the United States. He wasn't in in the heart of Africa, or the Sahara Desert, okay, then it would have been different there. He was in the United States. So what he did is he provided something that made sense with the environment he was in, and taking it from there, because there's a lot of ECAs in California, especially LA. That's where basically one of the first centers was. And then down here in South, Patty Simpson started the one in Laguna Beach when she was still working with Paul here. And so, yeah, you have to look at environment too. And so now we're all over the world more so than ever before. And yes, the getting together and doing this, yeah, but making sense of it. So what I'm looking at with the funding is to set up a position for the Africans to take part in some way with this green belt. And so we'll see what happens from that. But and we're going to create our own here too as something to do. And then from there, because these forests are self-generating, they continually, as you get them to a certain point, they're self-sustaining. They even create their own weather. But at the same time, we have the challenge of the weather control of the world. I'm not naive to the fact that, basically all the weather in the world is controlled, and you have this big hurricane in Florida. Well, if you look on the internet, it's HAARP-driven. They're doing it on purpose, just like the 300-mile-an-hour winds they've had in the past in the Philippines and whatever. These things, and earthquakes in Japan and all over the world, these are HAARP-driven. So it's a real wake-up and a challenge, not to just be naively thinking that, oh, we'll just go plant trees and everything will be fine. Well, you look at all the fires in the world, and these are they're started from planes with lasers. They're purposely burning up the forest. That's very real. So I see that, yeah, there's a lot of genuine people here on the earth that want to do something, but at the same time, they just wait till it's finished and then they blast it with lasers. So that has to be taken care of too. So there's a whole lot of focus here, not just being naive on the planet because this is human farming. So much, much bigger picture. So we see where things kind of started off at a particular time, Charles, but now we're into a whole new era, aren't we? A whole new position. And a lot of people would like to think and be in la-la land as they always have. But guess what? There's no la-la land here. It is not the same today as even it was yesterday. It's a lot worse, and it's only getting worse until people really wake up. So this is what we're doing. This is an avenue, okay? But this is not the big picture. This is not the real cure for all. Each person has to figure that out for themselves, and we're providing the best references. So there you go, Charles.